Hi, everybody. Welcome to the August edition of our NeQter Labs Town Hall. I'm here with Patrick, as always. We're going to go over a couple of standard things that you typically see on these webinars today, just as a refresher. And Patrick also has a couple of new things to show you guys that one of our developers, Austin, has been working on that we're excited to show you about. We'll give it a few minutes to let a few more people jump in, and then Pat, whenever you're ready, you can go ahead and kick us off.
I think we can get started, Nick, if you like.
Yeah, I think we're good to go. Whenever you're ready, my friend, take it away.
Yeah, so I know we just met a little while ago, but we've had some improvements in the past few weeks. Next month, we kind of we had that delay just because of the fourth, but we'll be able to meet next month on the fifth as scheduled, first Tuesday of the month. I can't believe we're going to be going through August already, first day of August. So a few things, like as Nick mentioned, a lot of the same. I'm going to just breeze through it even faster, but just want to make sure if anyone has missed anything, that they're all caught up. But some fun additions to the product, as well as to the team. So we'll be covering that today. So, latest and greatest, of course, is update 2.15.5. We'll just be quickly covering again what we have with 2.15.5, and of course, Q&A is welcome. So if anyone has any questions, we will uh, we will look to cover that stuff there. So 2.15.3, we've kind of beat a dead horse here. So I think everyone is on the latest and greatest. There was that long update with the operating system improvements from Ubuntu 18, and of course this was a major update, so didn't want anyone to power cycle or anything, and of course have sound backups. But again, when we move to, so this is really everyone with the platform currently. One of the biggest things we're working on right now is having a new ISO. So fortunately, we won't have to deal with this update process for much longer. With 2.15.5, user permissions was a big deal. Being able to have read-only access to the compliance tool, switching up read and write access to other tools, and we tried out a new multi-level or multi-company mode just for the policy builder to start. We have a few pilots who are using that right now with success. And in future, in the platform, we will be looking at having a tool-wide multi-tenancy, multi-company mode available. One of the big things that we had with 2.15.5 was an agent update, which allowed us to support, which I will cover very shortly, that a few people have deployed already with our Veeam support. So if you have Veeam backup and replication, we added that. Of course, with more and more users, we have a lot of people moving to Windows 11, even though Windows 10 was the last Windows. We all laughed, and then Microsoft came out with Windows 11. So that is required you to move from 2.11.5 to 2.15 on the agent version. and those can be downloaded via docs.nectarlabs.com. This was brought up on the last webinar and is something that we have addressed and are fixing for our next update, which of course is the agent link on the platform itself is an older link, which unfortunately points to a dead link right now. So we will be updating that. But agents can be found and downloaded on our doc site. For 2.15.5, just wanted to quickly rehash again what that new version has with it. So, of course, we returned back the health metrics dashboard, and we also adjusted how RAM was interpreted from allocated to used. So before we had some users identifying correctly, they said, hey, our RAM is saying 99%. That wasn't the actual case. That was just what the system was reporting. So we tweaked that so it is accurately reporting what is actually being used. We also re-included the health metrics dashboard for NeQter so you can track the health of your NeQter system, whether it's a hardware or VM appliance. On the home page, on the refresh, we included, of course, the health metrics for NeQter. We also added the network monitoring status chart, and we included the vulnerability summary information chart. We will be rounding out in our next update compliance tool updates as a chart, so you can see any changes, but then also summary of progress for different system security plans that you're tracking. So we'll have a nice 3x3 grid on the home page. So some additions there. We also added in, which if you aren't aware of this is one of my favorites. This has actually helped me demo the product a lot better because I can just basically live in the host tab. We've included the vulnerability scanner as a flyout. Sean, our head developer, he's the flyout king, and he has been including a lot of nice additions in flyouts in the host area of the tool. One of them being embedding the full vulnerability scanner right there. So you can go to the vulnerability scanner tab if you like, but you can just live in the host tab, go in the vulnerabilities tab with under hosts, and kick that vulnerability scanner flyout, where you can config and review the reports for the vulnerability scanner, but all of the events from the vulnerability scanner are pulled into the host vulnerabilities tab. There's of course also a dedicated vulnerabilities dashboard, so you can apply queries or timeline queries against the data. You can also group it against hosts directly as well as vulnerabilities. So if you wanted to see, this was a request that we got quite a bit. If you wanted to see, hey, I want to see all hosts that this particular vulnerability is on, you can do that now via the vulnerabilities tab under hosts, and you can filter down by vulnerability, have it list out all the hosts in your inventory that have that vulnerability and tackle it from there. So some different views and usability for the data with that vulnerability scanner enhancement. As I mentioned, with the host, the agent update, we also have Veeam support. You'll find this under the host tab when you're configuring the different agents. You're going to find that under Windows logs, event IDs, where you can select a new Veeam monitoring default. So you can establish that, and for some reason Veeam just loves to have as many different event IDs as they can. So there's quite a few. There's about 213 different ones. The default will turn on about 50 of those. So you can select that and push that out as well. And then, of course, there is that new dedicated Veeam dashboard. Additionally, we added this in. This is going to be for a subset of users, but moving forward from 2.15.5 is going to be a capability of an offline updater. Right now, that includes just the feature updates to NeQter. It does not include the feeds from the vulnerability scanner. That will be included at a later date. But if you have a siloed NeQter, or you have an additional environment that's an enclave that can't connect externally and can't traditionally access the NeQter update server, that is what this feature is for. So you can upload the updates directly to that separate NeQter. New hardware, this is something that I know Nick has been tackling, and this really affects anyone who has hardware that is kind of past the 4-year mark. Some of our older clients, 4 or 5 years, we recommend moving to the newer hardware that we have. Just as best case, out of warranty, we can't support the hardware. Especially as we're getting into kind of the 5-year mark for a lot of different systems. It's just they're too old. The drivers are out of date, and we start to see potential drive failures with those older systems. So anyone outside of 3-4 years, those older Supermicro had 3-year warranties. The newer Asus that we are moving to supports up to 5-year warranties, so we'll be able to support the full 5-year. It also has some more enterprise level features such as hot swappable drives, expansion bays, and dual power supplies. It also does have keep your drives policies and some other things as well. So if you have any questions on that or would like to update, please feel free to reach out to Nick directly on that. But as we have renewals, we are bringing this up, especially as we hit those longer tenure customers and hardware. So that's everything I've covered to date on these on the webinar. I've kind of had the same one for a couple months now because we had that big update of 2.15.3, and we've been steadily plugging along on some new things, namely the ISO, Red Hat agent support, as well as a compliance guide tie-in, which I'll actually be able to show what exactly that looks like, the compliance guide side. So our developer Austin has been working on this. Essentially, what this is going to look like, there are 2 scenarios that you will be able to take advantage of this. For everyone, of course, who already has a system security plan, already has one in progress, what's going to happen is when you are in that plan, under the subcontrols, under the assessment objectives, so in the additional information area, we added a new tab with the NeQter guidance. So the NeQter guidance is going to be much like it already is on the doc site under the compliance guide. We took that literature and we added it in here to the tab. And what you're going to be able to do is copy to clipboard and paste it in to each subsequent control. So that's going to be a 1-by-1 option, and that's going to be very useful, of course, for those of you that have already started a system security plan or are heavily using it. In the compliance tab, you're going to be able to go to the NeQter guidance, copy to clipboard, and paste that in. So that's still going to be kind of a 1-by-1, but of course it's right here, easy access. You're going to be able to do that. If you're creating a system security plan from scratch, what we're going to have is we're going to have the same radio buttons here for NIST or for CMMC, but then you're going to be able to check this box to include the NeQter compliance guidance responses. It's going to take every single response and it's going to add that into the subsequent assessment objective. So if we make a CMMC version 2, new plan, we create an SSP. Of course, with the new user management, you can modify access directly as that SSP is created. So we're going to confirm that access, close that box. And now you can see that we have 96 responses to all of the areas that NeQter helps with. As we go into each one, we can see there's going to be a call out. This response has been imported from the guide. It's going to have the response, and it's going to have this break here. And then you can go and you can edit it, or you can append a kind of your description of how you are helping with that particular how are you meeting that particular implementation. One of the things I'm just going to double check, I think what we might want to do on new ones as well is designate kind of a partial or fully implemented status, or at least reference that in the NeQter guidance, because I know we call that out in with the color coding system for the guide. So I'll just have to double check with our dev team to see if that is going to be another addition. But that's essentially what we're looking at when it comes to adding things in, either one by one, copying to clipboard, or of course, if we want to make a new plan and just automatically add all of those things in. So that's what we're looking at for that new feature. Of course, if you guys have any questions, feel free to use the Q&A or the chat. One of the things I wanted to bring up, and someone who helped on this as well, is a newest member of our team, Jose. Wanted to give him a shout out. So Jose's been added as a junior software developer. He's working with Sean and Austin on the development team. We actually have known Jose for quite a bit. When we were getting our start at our former parent company, an engineering services firm, Jose was actually there as a mechanical engineer. And of course, everyone's journey is different, but our paths crossed again, and we've brought him onto our team. Right now, his main focus is the policy builder and enhancing that. I actually had him, which I'll talk in a bit, come out to a trade show because he knows the industry. He knows a lot of the types of customers that we work with. And Jose is just all around an awesome guy. He right now he's based out of Kentucky, so NeQter's states of influence are spreading. The recent show I was just talking about, we actually went out to Navy Gold Coast, saw a few of our customers out there, which was awesome to see. Got to see some partners such as Humberto from Bray Networks, as well as Kelly Kendall from KNC. San Diego was fantastic. It's an awesome city to do anything in, and that was a great show for us, Navy Gold Coast. So if you're out there, sorry to have missed you, but that is a show that we do every year. So please feel free to drop by if you are attending next year. And then coming up, a show that we have a little bit more local to us in the Rhode Island area is Cynidia Defense Innovation Days. End of August at the Marriott in Newport. This is actually a picture of me a few years ago talking to the man himself, Hondo Gertz, Undersecretary of Defense for the Navy. So that was awesome to see. So any local customers, feel free, please, to come and attend Snidia. It's going to be the 28th through the 30th, Monday through Wednesday, and or if not, we'll be there later, maybe for some, catch a drink or get some food. So please reach out if you're in the area or if you'd like to attend, and could see if you could get you tickets to that. It's a really good show, highly focused on, of course, the Navy for the tri-state area of Connecticut, Mass, and Rhode Island, but great defense industrial base show for sure. And yeah, that's everything. So had some new stuff, had a lot of old stuff, but we have that update should be coming out shortly for the things that I mentioned, and of course some fixes as well. The change log, of course, is on our doc site as well as in the update area of your NeQter system. So if you have any questions on, this wasn't working, or this wasn't working in the way that I thought it would, is this being fixed? Is this being addressed? All those things are covered in the change log, and of course we try to cover them as much as we can on these monthly webinars. Nick, have you seen any questions come in? I think it's kind of been a bit quiet today.
No questions, Pat. You consistently do way too good a job of explaining things, I think. You should give these guys a chance to ask us something every once in a while.
Yeah,
Um,
I'll
One
try.
thing I have noticed that you might want to highlight, I'm sure everyone here has already taken care of it just from looking
Hmm.
at the list. But I have run into a few clients that did not know about turning the vulnerability scanner dashboard on so that those new infographics will appear in the vulnerabilities tab of the hosts tool.
Mm, okay. Um, for some reason, I was under the um, impression that that was an auto on, but if that's not the case, yeah, in order to get those turned on, much like other integrations, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to navigate yourself over to the settings area of the platform. It's taken just a second for me um, to load here. I am working from home,
Yeah, after that,
so
Pat,
we'll
while
just
you're
give it a second.
going through it,
Hmm.
we do have a
Hmm.
question from Jurgen.
Okay.
He was wondering what our timeline is to publishing a 171 Rev 3 integration.
Yeah, so I will say, so for Rev 3, it's in draft. So when it looks to get finalized, I believe they said that the assessment, so the 171A, or 171 Rev 3A, or however it is, the assessment guide, I believe they're releasing that at the same time. They're kind of dual channeling that, which is a rarity for NIST. So when that comes out, when that's final, and we have the assessment guide, we will look to integrate. As of right now, it's in draft. We're not going to. We're going to kind of pay attention to how it's structured, so we can kind of get ahead of it. But you will not see Rev 3 in here until it is final. So I would say probably um, a little bit after it is final, we will come out with that support. We just need to have the same structure like we do now against the assessment objectives, like we have with Rev 2 and with CMMC. Um, so I think they're talking about spring for Rev 3. Maybe we'll see if it comes out earlier. Government likes to come out with stuff on Friday or right before a major holiday, so we'll we'll try to stay on top of it. Um, for the vulnerability scanner to get those visualizations, you'll want to go into settings and you'll want to go into dashboards. So on the dashboard side, we'll want to scroll down over here to vulnerabilities and toggle that on. Just flip this switch here. In doing that, we'll be able to have that visualized data on the um, home page with this last 7 days right here, as well as having the vulnerability scanner dashboard, as well as having so in the last 15 minutes, no, last 7 days, we will have some data in here. Um, so that is how we'll be able to get that turned on. And of course, if we go into hosts, um, we'll be able to see that on the vulnerabilities tab. Now, importantly, want to highlight when it comes to the vulnerability scanner data and being able to visualize it, you're going to want to make sure that your visualization count or your day count for your visualizations are in line with when you're kind of running your scans. So if you have a vulnerability scan run every 30 days, and you have visualized log data for 14 days under settings, under backups, um, then you're only going to have a 14-day window to view the last 30 days. So if you ran it at the top, if you ran it August 1st, and you're expecting to see those dashboards on August 20th, but you only have 14 days worth of visualized log data on August 14th, they will rotate into archive. So just kind of want to make acknowledge expectations from that standpoint. So you might not always have a view window in your scan data if you're running it at a longer frequency than you have retention for log data. Same thing goes for the widget or the chart on the home page is for vulnerabilities in the last 7 days. So if you ran the scan 10 days ago, that's going to be blank on your home screen there. So yeah, so that is how you can turn that on. If it is turned on and you're not seeing anything, therein lies your issue. I would check your visualized log data settings. Um, so yeah, so this Q&A is open for any question that any of you may have for any aspect of the tool, any aspect of the company, um, support. Please feel free to throw your questions in the ring here. Nick, was there anything else from your side? I asked support, I asked development, they didn't really have anything. Um, but anything from what you've been seeing the last few weeks or so that you think would be good to cover?
Um, Nothing specific that I can think of. The only the only other thing that I've heard about is the vulnerability counts between the vulnerability scanner and the host tab, but I don't know. I don't know if that's something that you want to go over or not.
That's something that I wasn't able to, I'll be honest, I wasn't able to get a full rundown on um, why that was. I don't know if that was a setting or if there was something that we needed to tweak on the development side. Um, Unless you can speak more to that, I wasn't able to get a breakdown of that particular discrepancy.
Yeah, I
So,
mean that was all I had. Um,
sounds like something I'll have to cover on the next
yeah.
on the next webinar. Because I don't even I'm just trying to think if I even saw that bug report. Um, or that ticket. Yeah, so we'll look to cover, obviously, if that's a whatever solution that we come to on that, whether it's just with a simple fix or if it's something that um, so I see a question about NeQter FortiGate integration. Um, so Dan, is that a question on how to get FortiGate set up, or was that a particular question about maybe a ticket that was submitted um, about integrating with FortiGate? If you could provide more context around the question. Yeah, so I know, of course, we do have the FortiGate syslog integration, but if there was an issue with, occasionally with different vendors, like I know we had an issue with Cisco Meraki, um, actually after we added the API integration, where, sometimes depending on the version of the vendor that we're dealing with, the logs are parsed differently, or there's an issue in pulling in the parse logs and visualizing them. So yeah, again, if your question lies with, getting FortiGate integrated, it's much like all the other syslog integrations. It's very straightforward in terms of selecting it from the dropdown, adding the source IP, and designating a specific label for that syslog source. But if you're having a potential issue with sending those logs via FortiGate, if they're not parsing or visualizing correctly, then we will have to open up a ticket, or if you have sent a ticket, we'll have to address that. So just wanted to make sure I was um, accurately answering your question, Dan. Um, but Nick, anything else? Or of course, the floor is open to anyone else who wants to ask a question and get it answered on today's webinar. Oh, see, so
Put the
I
hand
see.
up for you there. Um, is it moving from Sonic Wall to FortiGate? So you
Yeah.
did answer this question.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, because I didn't want to be rude. How's NeQter's FortiGate integration? It's great. So yeah, but that is the answer. So yeah, so if you're moving from Sonic Wall to FortiGate, we have that support. And FortiGate, and this is actually, this is something that I would like us to do when we move. One of the big moves later this year is going to be we're actually moving from Elasticstack to OpenSearch. And one of the things I want to see, because FortiGate's actually one of our integrations that we have quite a few dashboards for. I want to see if most, if not all, of the other syslog integrations can get the same treatment. But FortiGate, we actually have three separate firewall dashboards: one for all activity, one for web traffic and web filtering data, and then one specifically for VPN traffic information. So you're actually going to be getting, because with SonicWall, we kind of coordinated it all on a singular dashboard. But with FortiGate, you're going to be able to chop up those different outcomes across multiple dashboards. So if anything, you'll look to get a bit of an upgrade on the visualization side when it comes to switching from SonicWall to FortiGate. So so yeah, and we typically have uh, a lot of different firewall integrations. Sometimes we come across one, we don't, and we try to try to fit that in. So if there, of course, are sysog integrations or other integrations that you'd like to see, that's great to bring up on here, or of course submitting of course, submitting a formal ticket designated as a request, and we review those every week on our support and development meetings. Um, but yeah, other than that, um, we'll wait a couple minutes for any other questions to come in. But otherwise, we'll look to close out another month. I can't believe it. Another month uh, of NeQter Labs webinars covering. So as you can see, products growing, teams growing. Um, Summer's ending, just started. So appreciate everyone's time, covering and logging in and attending these webinars. Of course, these are all recorded and do get uploaded to our YouTube channel. One of the things that hopefully I'm going to say is going to come out by next town hall is going to be we have a completely revamped website. So hopefully that will translate better to any of you using the current website. I know we've been stuck with the one we've had for quite some time, so I'm excited for that new upgrade on our end. But yeah, outside of that, we will look to close out today. Nick, any last thoughts for today's webinar?
No, I think we are good to close things out and let everyone get back to this beautiful August 1st day. Thank you everyone for joining. If anybody has any questions about anything or would like additional information on the NeQter platform, feel free to reach out to me through phone call or email anytime. Um, Always happy to help out.
Yeah, awesome. So thanks everyone for your time today, and we'll talk to you on the 5th.
Bye, everybody.